The early bird catches the worm. So why are we early today? Not just for worm catching. We're talking a free agent signing for your Texas Rangers. That and so much more next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, the Texas Rangers will be getting Higgy with it for at least the next 2 years, maybe 3, as Texas has come to terms with a free agent catcher, Kyle Higashioka, who has been with the New York Yankees, and then part of the Soto trade was with the Padres last year, where he was significant in their playoff push last fall. So we welcome you to the DLLS Rangers podcast. Jeff is here. J-Dub will be joining. He is talking with Higashioka right now. And Kyle will be joining us here in just a few minutes. It's Abby Jones, me, Rads, John Radigan. We got the Prophet over here. First things first, remind you still got time. You've still got time to join our diehard group. 36 hours for $36. Well, those hours are counting down now. I think we're down to the final 10-ish. Make sure you sign up to become a diehard. It's the cheapest rate they've ever had in the 5-year history of this All-City network. And as Jeff will tell you, it is one of the best values in the world to get all the content we are going to provide. Content like this, certainly, but also stuff that's written and stuff that's talked about. And of course, we have merchandise. You get a free shirt, $36. The shirts are worth $35. You do the math. Abs called it girl math yesterday.
Girl math, and it's basically free.
Basically free. It's $1. So anyway, we encourage you to do that. We'll remind you throughout the program that this is still going on as Cyber Monday slides into Tuesday, and we're awfully glad about that. But we're also awfully glad about the fact that the Rangers have signed a free agent. They've jumped in with both feet. We were always saying the top priority, pitching. It still is. We'll talk more about that later. But the next priority really had to be the backup catcher.
Yeah. Because it's so important to have that defensive mind. You know, how good is your pitching staff if your catcher's not going to be 100%? And Jonah Heim was far from 100% last year.
Right.
And that's not even opinions. I mean, you can look at the numbers. He was in the bottom 5 of Major League Baseball offensively.
Right.
And we didn't even really get into his defense as well. And Kyle had one of the best years to date of his career offensively last season with the Padres. He was incredible in the postseason. He had 3 home runs, 2 in the series against the Braves during the wild card. Not to mention, really just he was able to do a lot to help the Padres, you know, kind of make that push, and they didn't get where they wanted to go. But he saw something in the Texas Rangers. He knows the players that are coming back and that are going to be healthy. And he wants to be with a former manager that was a former catcher. Nobody better to be under than Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers. We're going to dive into Kyle a little bit more, but it is a huge, huge win for the Texas Rangers.
It's a huge win, and we'll talk a lot about him, and we'll talk to him coming up in just a couple of minutes. Jeff will join us, and so will Kyle later on in the program. So a really exciting day for the Texas Rangers as the winter meetings are still a week from now will be on the middle day of the winter meetings. And so this is nice to get something like this done. It was definitely near the top of the list for the Texas Rangers, in large part because one of the reasons that Jonah had that season that you mentioned, Abs, is the fact that he's just getting worn out.
Overuse,
right? As a young man, to be that worn out by overuse is very difficult. And he caught almost every inning of the stretch run in 2023, also very difficult. Higashioka was in there in San Diego, filling in and helping out and relieving some of the stress, right, for the starting catcher. So it's a really good signing with a really good reason. We want you to join us, to chat with us, send a few questions along if you've got a question for Kyle Higashioka, the Rangers' new catcher. And we say catcher because, there is some thought that it may be more of a 1A and 1B type of thing. That's the kind of skill this guy has. Abs, we know that Jonah, when he's fully right, and again, his defensive metrics slipped a little bit last year too. But we know he was an all-star and he was a Gold Glove in 2023. We know he's great defensively.
Yeah.
But so is Higashioka.
He is, and he's known in particular for framing. You know, he's in the 90th percentile in framing runs in 2023, and I'll tell you why. It's because of all of his experience. I mean, he is a 34-year-old player, and he's had 8 years playing at the major league level, but 10 years in the minor leagues. He was drafted in 2008, and he did not make his MLB debut until 2017. Rad, some people would call it quits before you even get your shot.
Right.
And thank God he didn't, because he's had such a great career. But it is because so many reps, and those mental reps are huge. We've talked about it. But no, I mean, the thing that is great about Kyle is that he had his best power season to date, and we know that Bruce Bochy's going to go with a hot hand. If he is 17 home runs, that's one less than Jonah Heim's career high of 18 as well. And if he is going to, be the hot hand and be able to, plug in and be in the DH spot and offer something there, I mean, Bruce Bochy's going to go with that. We know that he does that. We've seen it before. So for him to be able to not only contribute a lot defensively, he's also really mature as a catcher, and he knows exactly how to call games. And he's really, really great with working with the pitching staff, working with Bobby Wilson. I mean, Bobby Wilson is one of the best catcher coaches in the game too, and he helps make those strides for those players to be the Gold Glove catchers that they are. It's really a great option for the Rangers.
Yeah, all you have to do is look at what Bobby Wilson did for Jose Trevino, who then went on to New York and had catching greatness and catching success there and won a Gold Glove. And, of course, what he's done for Jonah Heim, who won a Gold Glove. I mean, Bobby Wilson knows this game, but more importantly, because all catchers do, more importantly, he can relate it to the players, right? Mm-hmm. Not all catchers, not all players who are great can become great coaches, but Bobby has that ability. He's a great communicator, a fun guy, a funny guy. We'll ask Kyle about that a little later, what he knows about Bobby Wilson. He's probably crossed paths with him somewhere over the course of
Baseball's small world.
Yeah, both of their long careers. I'm sure that they have crossed paths. So we'll ask him that question. The other thing you were talking about, Boch, going with the hot hand. The other thing that Boch is not afraid to do, and he's proven it really over the last 2 years. It started when Mitch Garver was still here in that backup role, and that is, he'll use the backup catcher, for lack of a better word, as the DH. Mm-hmm. Now, that makes some managers just shaking their boots, but it's changing now. But Boch will do that and did it a lot in 23, did it a lot last year, too.
Boch wants to give some love to the catchers.
Right.
But no, I mean, he's going to go with it. I was taking a look at his numbers, and, we've talked about hitters that play with confidence. Kyle's one of them. Early in the counts against a righty, he's hitting 500.
Wow.
And, you love that when he's ahead, 455 on the fastball. So all about playing to his strengths there. But no, I mean, it's, he just offers options for this club. And that's the important thing, because we saw last year when the Rangers got Carson Kelly at the trade deadline from the Tigers, he then split the workload between him and Jonah.
Pretty much.
I mean, it was Heim had 38, and then Kelly not far behind him. So it is 31. It is so important that, they have those rest days, and especially that's such a taxing position.
That's the thing.
And Bruce Bochy knows that the best out of anybody. So he really is, we talk about CY being able to relate to the players from a player's perspective. Well, Bruce Bochy knows the workload that it takes on these guys. So just, again, MLB Network said it's 1A and it's 1B, and that's exactly what the Rangers have here with this signing.
Yeah, so the numbers are good, but not bank breaking, right,
Yeah.
for the Rangers. What is it, 5.75 for the first year?
5.75, 6.75 for the next year.
And then it would be $7 million for, there it is. Thank you. The Prophet throws that up for us. We appreciate that. 5.75, 6.75, and then 7 in the option year with
buyout.
a $1 million buyout. It's a mutual option, so either side can basically deny that third season. And of course, what everybody's hoping, both sides hoping, that they're paying him $7 million, right? That means that he's remained productive and that, he's still, enjoying this and he's still helping contribute to what the Rangers hope will be a championship team. Now, remember that he spent the first 10 years or 9 years of his major league career, right, in New York, or was it 8 in New York and then 1 in San Diego? Whichever it is, he spent a great deal of time in that
7.
Yankees organization, both as a minor league. He was drafted out of California by the New York Yankees in 2007?
2008.
2008.
Out of high school.
Yeah, right out of high school in Huntington Beach,
round,
California.
too. Seventh round.
Seventh round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons it's a little harder to get noticed in the 7th round. That said, catching is a rare commodity and a premium position in that regard. So he labored, as Ab said, he labored in the minors for 10 years before finally getting a call up to the Yankees. And then, of course, he played there for 8 or 9 years before being a part of that Soto trade, where he then went to San Diego. And obviously, he had excellence in San Diego last year, particularly on the offensive side of things. So, and if you wonder, would Kelly, Carson Kelly, the guy the Rangers got last year in the trade with Detroit, would he have been a better option? Not offensively. He wouldn't have. And I'm not sure. It's his first crack at free agency. I'm not sure if he would have made more money. We're going to find out, because he's going to sign with somebody. But I believe, and I know Jeff does, Abs does, this is a really good signing by the Rangers, a higher quality catcher than we were afraid that they were going to be in the market for. So really good news and a good day for the Rangers. More on that, including an interview with Kyle Higashioka coming up a little later on in the program. We're also going to get to what's next for the Rangers. Is that immediately pitching? We kind of hope so. We think so. We'll talk about that and get to our batting cleanup segment. But we've got to do all that coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Hey, Shady Rays, these are the greatest. Abs talked about it yesterday. I had mine wedged between the console of my car and my seat, and it was the passenger side. They had kind of slid off, right? So, people are moving that seat back and forth, and I lost my Shady Rays. I got to buy a new pair. Then I vacuumed the car and I found them. No worse for the wear, man. They were in such good shape. I cleaned them up and they're still beautiful. They didn't bend. They didn't break. I can't say enough about the quality of these Shady Rays, and I think they're cool looking. They've got great designs. The one I have is the Color Rush Polarized, which when I go home in the evening, man, I drive straight into the sun. No problem. Can see everything. They deaden that glare. I can't say enough about these sunglasses. You get 35% off if you use the code DLLS. Get yourself some Shady Rays today.
While you're at it, go ahead and check out Empire today. They are the one-stop shop when it comes to floors. They don't do anything other than floors, so you know that you're going to get the best quality, the best prices, the best option on the market. They've been doing it longer than I've been alive. They are the best in the game. Empire today, they have a cool virtual option that you can check out the floors before you buy them, which everyone loves, because in this day and age, you want to know before you buy. And floors are pretty expensive, so you don't want to buy something that's not going to match your cabinets or all the things. Miss Kathy would love this feature. You just take out your smartphone, kind of pano room pano view the room, and then you can see the floors before you purchase them. They also have a $350 code for you, DLLS. You get $350 off, and you can get a home inspection and check out your floors.
Yeah. We love them, and we love the fact that the Rangers have made a big move today. They signed, actually, the news broke last night that they had signed a catcher by the name of Kyle Higashioka. We appreciate the chats and the various messages to us. Keep them coming as we are getting ready. We hope to interview Kyle, and Jeff has joined us again now. Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Hey, guys.
That's J-Dub. So you just chatted with him, you and some of the other people that cover the Rangers on a regular basis. And is Kyle going to be able to join us?
He is. The call just ended, so it should be any moment when he hops on. He has a flight home he has to catch. So they're.
And is he here he's in Arlington?
He's in Arlington. He was in the interview room. You know, they do have to come in and get physicals.
Gotcha.
And then that was the final step. So he said he's been in town a day, and now he's going home with a nice 2-year deal. And it was pretty interesting to hear what he said. I saw some of the questions in there from Coop, and she kind of nailed them both. So, or I don't want to spoil anything. Because I think, is he here, Elijah? All right.
And beautiful.
Let's get to it. What an exciting
We
day.
welcome Kyle Higashioka to the program, the new Rangers catcher. And there he is.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. We appreciate you joining us. And there's lots to talk about. But first, Jeff was just saying you got to catch a flight home. Where is home in the off season?
I'm up in Central Oregon.
Okay. Hey, you I just was on the conference call with you and listened to what you had to say. You used the term ultra aggressive in describing the Rangers' approach to you this offseason. Can you kind of run down? You said you heard from them on day one of free agency.
Yeah, I mean, from day one, they contacted my agent and said they're I was one of their top priorities this offseason, and and then they were very quick to get me on a Zoom call with Chris Young and Bochy and Ross Fenstermaker. So I mean, and everything they had to say about the organization was exactly what I wanted to hear, and the kind of they were talking about the kind of baseball that I wanted to play. So that was extremely attractive to me.
So what? I know you just said it to me on the Zoom call, but what kind of baseball did they tell you the Rangers are going to play in 2025?
I mean, good fundamental baseball, clean baseball. I think having a good balance between analytic thinking and actual baseball IQ, watching the game, understanding what's going on the field. And, with a manager like Boch, I think, you're going to have one of the best baseball IQ minds at the helm. So, I mean, that's what I've thought of as, the right way to play the game.
Kyle, congratulations on the deal. We're thrilled to have you in Texas. But your story to me is so interesting. You got drafted in 2008, 7th round, 10 years in the minor leagues. I think being a catcher is one of the more difficult positions in the game. And Bruce Bochy mentioned that in the postseason especially. Just talk about your experience in the minor leagues, how that's contributed to your game today.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I spent a long time in the minors. I wouldn't recommend that to most kids. But, it definitely makes you appreciate, what we have here in the big leagues. And I think, it makes you not take anything for granted. So, for me, I got a chance to develop, and luckily I was blessed with a lot of opportunities from the Yankees, and they gave me enough to finally make it to the big leagues. And, I think I'm all the better for it.
Kyle, you spent most of your career obviously in the Yankees organization, and your first 8 years or whatever in the majors with the New York Yankees. How different was it from just sort of a going to work every day to play baseball experience to play someplace like San Diego and out of that media spotlight, that hotbed that is New York?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a huge change, but San Diego is a fantastic place. I mean, so laid back. The organization wants to win. They put a fantastic team on the field last year, and I had so much fun playing there. It was incredible. So the fan base was awesome, sellouts every night, and it was great. I didn't know what to expect coming from New York. It's always great to be a Yankee, and but I realized that there's so many great things that every organization brings to the table, and so I was glad to experience that.
One of your best offensive seasons to date, career high of 17 home runs. What was working for you last season, and your postseason success as well? 3 home runs there.
Yeah, I mean, we made a little adjustment with my stance. Just kind of close off a little bit, help me stay through the ball, and being able to hit fastballs and breaking balls a little better, and keeping balls fair. So I think that was a big key, and it also helped me with my pitch selection too. So yeah, I'm looking to build on that. Definitely not content with just staying stagnant. And I've heard great things about the hitting coaches here, so I'm looking to get even better this year.
Kyle, just 2 more questions before we let you go to the airport. What you've caught Garrett Cole, Yu Darvish, our old friend, a lot of great pitchers. And Dylan Cease, I don't want to leave him out. Don't want to leave out any of the Padres, but for time constraints, I'm gonna. How forward are you looking to catching Jacob deGrom?
Oh, I can't wait. Travis d'Arnaud texted me last night. He was saying that catching deGrom is like playing a video game. He just puts the ball wherever he wants it, and he's ridiculously good. So I can't wait to see what he's got.
Yeah, and you'd mentioned on the conference call, you caught a no-hitter at Globe Life Field. You were there for Aaron Judge's historic home run, but this is probably the first time you were on the home side, going through the clubhouse. What do you think of this ballpark, just from an amenity standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the newest park in the league, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and it's definitely the nicest ballpark I've ever seen, clubhouse wise. Training room, weight room. The inside of the stadium, it's incredible. So I'm really excited to be here.
Hey, Kyle, just one last thing. Your father's 3rd generation Japanese American, and you learned Japanese to communicate with some of the Japanese teammates you've had over the years. How difficult was that?
I don't know if I'd say learn Japanese because it's very poor.
He knows Spanish better. Muy malo. Very poor.
My Spanish is much better. To be honest, that's a lot more useful.
Yeah.
A lot more Spanish speaking teammates typically. Last year we had 2 Japanese pitchers, which was actually incredible. And I got to practice Japanese a ton. But here I don't believe we have any Japanese speakers.
Not yet.
Wink, wink, wink.
I might ask you to call Sasaki.
Kyle, your new third base coach, Tony Beasley, he'll probably sing with you anytime that you want to break out the guitar in the clubhouse. So
nice.
Yeah. I don't know if he knows Rat, but he'd probably learn.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kyle.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks for joining us. Safe travels, happy holidays, and we'll see you in spring training, if not before.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right,
We
Kyle.
appreciate it, Kyle Higashioka.
you.
What a interesting and good signing for the Rangers, and to get to chat with them like that.
Yeah.
A fun guy who I think is ready to embrace this role, Jeff.
Yeah, he played in 83 games last year, and he had career high. I think, as was pointed out either on the Zoom call or by Abby or wherever, career high in plate appearances, and he had 17 home runs.
Yeah.
And if you look at his home run rate, it's ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
I don't think, when people are saying, well, he's going to be the backup, I think he's going to be a 70 to 80 game catcher. It could be a very even split. You never know what happens with injuries. Jonah Heim was hurt 2 seasons ago. But it also, I know if Jonah's right and if Kyle's right, swinging it right, it gives Bruce Bochy the flexibility of having both guys in the lineup and one at DH. And so it's definitely an interesting signing. It's interesting. The Rangers have had a lot of targeted signings. That's what this sounds like that was. Calling them on day one of free
Day
agency.
one, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Getting it set up and getting the wheels in motion early. You wonder who else they called on day one.
Right.
You wonder if something else is coming down the pike here soon. You would hope as a Rangers fan that more is coming soon. Nathan Eovaldi, of course, at the top of the list. But they cast a wide net. They consider all their options, but when they identify guys they want, they sit Chris Young on them quick and get the ball rolling.
Truly amazing. You could see it, in Kyle's approach and hear it in his voice. CY called me right away. It's pretty impressed by that.
I mean, if you want somebody, that's got to leave a favorable impression. Like, gosh, these guys are serious. They think I'm the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
So, they're gonna get you
Good for the ego.
Make you feel good.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, I got to go to another Zoom call. So you guys have you got to read my ads.
Okay, no
We'll do
problem.
it.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
got your
Good
ads.
trade-off.
We got your
Okay.
ads taken care of. Yeah, Ross Fenstermaker is speaking here momentarily, so Jeff's going to go listen in and chat on that Zoom call, and then he'll come back and report on what he has heard a little later on in the program. That's coming up, as is our batting cleanup segment. Next up, let's talk a little bit about what is next for your Texas Rangers as far as free agents go. That's coming up next on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
And it's time for Rugged Road. They should make a song, Grads.
I'd like a song for
I'd like
Rugged
a song
Road.
too. But Rugged Road's the #1 list on your Christmas list this season because it is the cooler that does it all. It keeps your items cold for 7 days.
Mhm.
I can't think of a cooler that is better on the market, truly.
No, not, and certainly not at that price point. You can
Great
get some of those
price.
ones that are $4,000 and $5,000, I suppose.
Oh, no.
Not this baby.
Get
Nope.
the one that's not going to break the bank. It looks sleek. You can take it camping. You can take it to the ballpark. You can take it outdoors. It floats if you need it to.
Yeah.
Also, amongst keeping things cold for 7 days, you can store anything in it. It also will help you if you got a leak in your roof. And it can hold a lot of water. So we have put it to the test here at DLLS. Get Rugged Road today. We have the code DLLS for 10% off.
We also have a new sponsor, fairly new. I guess we've been talking about them for a couple of weeks now, but Saturday Neon is a very cool sponsor that have neon signs that we really need to get one here. But right now they're licensed with 50 different colleges. So if you want to take your representation of your favorite school to the next level, go to Saturday Neon and get them to make you one of the signs that helps you represent in a big way. That neon is actually LED, so it's not a gas that's inside your home anymore. That it looks like neon and it acts like neon, and it's an extremely cool sort of a mood light, if you will, for your sports room. So you should go to Saturday Neon, and you should use the code DLLS to get 10% off. It's SaturdayNeon.com, code DLLS. Next up for the Rangers has got to be pitching. And it's very interesting what we just heard from Kyle Higashioka and what we just heard from Jeff and what we, have speculated but didn't know, but just that the Rangers once again had their minds made up, right? They knew they wanted Corey Seager and Marcus Semien and John Gray and even Cole Calhoun back in 21. They knew they wanted Jacob deGrom, and they weren't exactly sure about the others, but they sure knew they wanted some more pitching that year, and they got it. And now they knew they wanted Kyle Higashioka, got him. They know they want Nathan Eovaldi. And so to Jeff's point, Abs, about, I wonder who else they called on the first day. I think we can be sure they called Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah, I was going to say I love that he said they were aggressive in that, because the Rangers do that. I mean, they're quiet about it, but they have their agenda written out, and I guarantee it's a very detailed schedule on a timeline. But no, I mean, look, lightning doesn't strike once.
No.
All I'm going to say.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. The word is, sources are reporting that the Rangers and Nathan and his camp are staying in pretty much constant communication. Now, there are a few other teams. The Braves have shown some interest in Nathan Eovaldi. I believe the Orioles might have shown some interest in Nathan Eovaldi. But for the most part, the Rangers are the leader in the clubhouse. We know that he wants to be in Texas. So the only question becomes whether or not one of those teams is of a mindset to absolutely blow him away with either the number of years or the dollar figure, right? We figure that the contract, that sets sort of the table, that sort of is the one that sets the tone for Nathan Eovaldi is the one that Kikuchi got with the Angels. That was a 2-year, $63 million contract. We believe that Nathan Eovaldi, not only can he get more, Abs, we believe he's worth more for some of the things that he does for this ball club.
Absolutely, he's worth more. And he has a right to explore the market, because this is one thing that my dad kind of touched on, in free agency. When players, kind of feel some type of way about how much they're worth. You just heard Kyle. He spent 10 years in minor leagues before he even made his debut.
Yeah, he also said he wouldn't recommend it.
Right, and he's not wrong. But then, you got to spend 6 years before you're able to get the free agency. So it's like, if you do the math, that's like 16 years, for one player to get to have a say in his contract.
Right.
So it makes sense that these players are taking their time and not jumping at, you'll sign me for $18 million? Done deal. They kind of have to think about it a little more strategically. For Nathan Eovaldi, this is going to be his prime contract of his career, in my opinion.
And potentially, he could be a freak like, Nolan or somebody, but potentially his last, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure it's where you want to go. It's where you want to have your family. He's older. He has kids. There's a lot of elements there. But I do think that, this maybe the catcher was a move that Nathan Eovaldi needed to see. Maybe solidifying this backup catcher was something that he wanted to see the Rangers, commit a little bit more to, because, hey, catcher really affects Nathan Eovaldi, So maybe you just need to see that before anything else. I don't know.
No doubt. It's more likely that he just needs to see those other offers before he decides, if he wants to come back with the Rangers. We know this. We know that he loves the proximity. He lives actually in a suburb that's north and a little bit east of north and a little bit west, I should say, of Houston. So that gets him to the DFW area and his family to the DFW area, in under 4 hours. When they want to come and watch him play, or when, if he might have an off day and want to shoot down home and those kinds of things. So there is a lot to be said for that proximity. And Nathan Eovaldi has said before, he's just loved having, Texas. He's a born and raised, Alvin, Texas. He loves having Texas across his chest on that Rangers uniform. So that's definitely the next priority. After that, the Rangers need probably a couple of arms for the bullpen. And that's something they're going to continue to work on. Many of us still hope that there is, Kirby Yates is one of those calls that they made on day one of free agency. But, yesterday there were reports out that we spoke a little bit about on the show yesterday, Abs, that it might be Tanner Scott. Speaking of San Diego Padres,
Tanner Scott could be a great option as well. I really like that the Rangers are going after these veteran presences, because to have the mental reps like we've talked about, to have the miles on them, and they're at the perfect spot. These guys are 34 years old. That's like prime time in your MLB career, because they were kind of talking about it on MLB Network. You're old enough to know what you want to do, what you don't want to do, the way that things go, but you're not so beat up that you can't, make things work in your favor. So really the Rangers are looking at prime options here. They're getting them at great deals. Again, the Matthew Boyd thing, I think that is, we're going to look in a few months, Rads, and we're going to say, honestly, thank God that the Rangers didn't sign Matthew Boyd. I just don't think that, his body is going to be able to play as long as he thinks. He's very injury prone. But the Rangers are making a lot of moves. Kirby Yates, if we could have our cake and eat it too, of course the answer is Kirby Yates. But if not, Tanner Scott is a great secondary option.
Well, and the reality is, look, Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott would be the ideal, because they really do need a couple of arms for the bullpen. They're basically trying to replace David Robertson and Kirby Yates. Now, is Robertson going to be an option later in the year? Last year, at the end of the season, David hinted at that maybe he didn't want to do spring training and the whole season grind, but maybe he'd sign later in the year. Certainly the Rangers can't wait for that. But, if things didn't work out the way they wanted to, that may become an option. Robertson seems like the kind of guy who could maybe pull that off. But if you could get Yates and you could get Tanner Scott, look, he's a guy who hasn't really, like in San Diego, he wasn't the closer, but he had a great year. And he got a few saves. But it's
all about shifting, though.
Yeah, it is.
Because if you're going to stick to your guns and, never be willing to change, you're going to be out of the game soon.
Right. And let's face it, the Rangers didn't bring Kirby Yates in to be the closer.
Right. It's just kind of how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, they fully expected Jose Leclerc to re-emerge and reassume that role, and it just didn't happen this year. And there was Kirby Yates, and he was just, he was an all-star.
Yeah.
Pitched in his first all-star game. Now, he'd been an all-star before, but he didn't get to pitch. This year, he knew the manager, so he got to pitch.
He did. I actually asked on Twitter yesterday, which area do you think that the Rangers need to address the most in the offseason? They said first, bullpen. Then it was a tie for heavy hitter and starting pitching.
Wow.
And then backup catcher was last.
I was watching MLB Network this morning, too, and Harold Reynolds was on there.
Love that
guy. Yeah, I love Harold. And he was just, they put up the lineup, and, of course you're going to agree, that lineup is great. That lineup can do damage. Then they put up the rotation as it is right now today, and he goes...
Without Evo?
Without Evo. And he said, you can't win. He goes, you need to win 2 out of every 3 at home. You can't win 2 out of every 3 with that rotation, right? And again, it's just one man's opinion, but we're inclined to agree. Yeah, we're inclined to agree.
Overall consensus,
Yeah, it is. You got Jacob deGrom. You can win 1 out of 3 for sure, but there's just not enough, strength and depth in that rotation. You don't know what Kumar Rocker is going to be, right? You don't even know if Jack Leiter is going to be a starter, right? And you've got John Gray, who's been plagued with injury, great when he's healthy, but plagued with injury every year. You've got Tyler Mahle, who's still coming back from injury. None of those guys, Dane Dunning, none of those guys are that top of the rotation type. And I don't mean very top. I mean 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
They don't really slot in there particularly well. Now, if you've got John Gray as your 4th, your 5th starter, you're feeling pretty good.
Well, we'll cut Kumar Rocker some slack. When you're next to Jacob deGrom, that's tough.
Yeah, no. And Kumar Rocker may be that guy, but you can't expect that this year.
Not out of the gate.
No, you can't expect that this year. And as Jeff said, he's had some injuries too. They're going to be careful and probably not want him to go 180 innings this year. They might limit him to about 150 innings just to make sure it'll be the most he's ever pitched.
Yeah.
Just to make sure he can get through the season.
Yeah. It's funny, though. I was watching the Greg Maddux documentary on MLB, and they were kind of doing the Braves' big three when it was him and Tom Glavine and John Schmaltz. And it was like, Chipper was like, yeah, we knew we were winning 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not up for debate. And, the Dodgers kind of maybe have that luxury this year, taking a look at their starting rotation. There's no gaps in that whatsoever. But the Rangers, I mean, Jacob deGrom, yes, the name is a lock-in, but still, I mean, you have to be realistic with his expectations coming off of a Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
And it was 3, sample size was small. The 3 games were great, but it is the longevity of a baseball season. So that's one. And then 2, I mean, when Jacob deGrom is in the state that he is, you really, really, really need Nathan Eovaldi to deliver 150 innings, possibly more. Ideally more.
Oh, ideally more. Absolutely. Yeah, you'd love to see. And again, Nathan, each of the years he's been here, has had a stint on the injured list, and but luckily nothing significant and nothing that has taken him out completely. But you definitely need him in there, and a healthy Eovaldi and a healthy deGrom. And then all of those guys is a nice start, a nice step forward. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch. And frankly, you'd feel pretty good about winning 2 out of 3 with those 2, deGrom and Eovaldi, at the top of the rotation. And who knows what Rocker will become, right? I mean, he might be. Look, if he becomes even close to as dominant at the major league level as he was at the minors,
agreed.
I mean, give me a break.
Agreed. I think Nathan Eovaldi, is going to be a Texas Ranger. I'm interested to see about Andrew Heaney. I think that's a no, but I'm interested to see who the replacement will be, because Andrew Heaney was just really reliable in a season that the Rangers were thirsty for a reliable player, because what is it, Rads? The best ability is
availability.
Right.
Yep.
So when the Rangers face, the injuries that they did last season, and hey, maybe that is, all like we can only go up from here kind of thing with the injuries. Maybe surely we're not going to have another season like that. But it's baseball. Like, you kind of you have to think that, hey, I'm not going to get X amount of innings from my starting pitching.
You have to plan for it.
You do.
You really do.
You do. So
and nobody, to another thing where Chris Young is such a great now president of baseball operations, that's another thing that he knows better than anyone, right? He lived it as a player for all those years, and knows too the frustration that the guys feel when they can't go. But there are times he knows it where they can't go. So
this is from Jeff.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
Per Ross Finstermaker, the Rangers are planning to give Jonah and Kyle equal playing time.
Wow. Okay.
So how we were kind of talking about the split.
Yep.
It's not necessarily going to be the traditional backup role.
Yep.
It's maybe, 50-50 responsibility.
Yep. Fantastic. That's good. We're getting news from Jeff and from the Ross Finstermaker sort of press conference right now. Even as we speak, we'll continue to provide more of those updates when we come back. We're also going to give you our batting cleanup segment. There's a couple of really cool things coming up for your Texas Rangers. We'll talk about them both next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, please don't forget, become a diehard today. You don't have much time. We have this 36 for 36 deal. That was 36 hours, which continue to dwindle, but the price doesn't change. $36 to become a diehard. You get all the content that we provide behind the paywall. You get so many other benefits, and there's going to be lots of content written. I see Jeff feverishly racing back toward the chair here to talk about some of it. But Lots of content. It's available not only on your Rangers side of things, but on the Cowboys, on the Stars, on the Mavs. How about the Mavs? 8 of their last 9 games they've won, doing a fantastic job right now. So all those things are available to you if you become a diehard, basically for free. $36 to become a diehard for a year. You get a free shirt that's worth $35. That's like becoming a diehard and getting all that content for $1 per year. Do it. Become a diehard today.
While you're at it, go ahead and check out the merchandise because it's cool and it's comfy. You can dress it up. You can dress it down. Rad's, this is a spiffy little, your shacket.
I got a shacket.
Shacket. And then this is the new sweatshirt. I like this.
Yeah, that's a good one.
How much was that? Do you remember? Do you remember how much it was?
Listed at $59.95.
That
but it wasn't
is
that high for Black Friday, so yeah.
That is a steal.
You know, I'll tell you this. When I made the order, it said it would arrive today. It arrived a day early.
Nice.
Very, very excited. Turns out, I got 2 other shirts, and my wife said, "What is that?" I said, "It's from ALLCITY." She goes, because she's expecting an order from ALLCITY. Apparently, she ordered me the same shirt that I bought.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna have 2.
Give one to your son.
Well, she wanted to get it for Christmas. Well, Henry's not quite big enough to wear an adult large.
Oh.
So I might have to put it up for bid.
Nice.
Something like that.
Give it away. Give it to
A giveaway.
On the TCU show.
Yeah.
Giveaway. There you go.
Fantastic. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Now, before we get to our batting cleanup segment, let us hear more from what Ross Fenstermaker said. Abby got the news out already, Jeff, that he's basically saying the 2 catchers will be kind of splitting time.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I think they're really, I don't want to say that Jonah was overexposed last year because you don't know what he was dealing with physically with the shortened off season and all of that stuff after catching more than he'd ever caught before. But if you're able to limit him, you're going to put him in the best situation to succeed. He's not going to be tired. He's not going to be catching 4 games in a row and potentially, I don't want to say giving away at bats, so tired at the end of a long stretch like that. So it's going to keep him fresh. It's going to help maximize his production. They think they still expect him to perform. And Coop said, "Please fix Jeff's mic." Can you not see my face, Coop? What's going on? Oh, so anyway, I think he will be Kyle will be a good addition to this team, and the Rangers made their whole catching situation better. Maybe what is it? I guess not addition by subtraction, but subtraction by addition in this case. Yeah.
Well, they were talking on MLB Network, and they said it best. They didn't lose anything in this trade or in this signing, and that's the biggest thing, especially at the catcher role, because so much runs through it, And Jonah Heim only gained. I mean,
yes, that's right.
He should have a sigh of relief checking his phone last night. That the pressure's off of him a little bit because the Rangers really didn't have that person in that role previously. And I mean, I know you're a big Sam Huff guy.
I am,
but it wasn't consistent enough.
Yeah, and I did ask about Sam, and because he's out of options, and Ross said that Sam is still going to be competing for a job. The Rangers have carried 3 catchers before. They flirted with the idea a lot. Sam can play some first base too, so I asked, will he be playing first base in spring training? They said they'll definitely sprinkle him in, but it's performance based, and you gotta perform. And I don't know that 3 catchers makes a lot of sense. Maybe if the Rangers are planning to use Hyman, Higashioka in the same lineup more frequently, it makes sense to have a 3rd catcher in that case. But otherwise, I think that position should go to another outfielder. But we'll see what happens, because Josh Smith can play the outfield. Ezekiel Duran can play the outfield. So you don't necessarily need a true 5th outfielder. But we'll see how it shakes out. It did though to go on what to build on what Kyle said, it was a targeted signing. The Rangers wanted to make sure that they got their kitchen situation done early and situated early. They thought it was an area where they could upgrade. And, based on Jonah's year last year, not just Jonah, but Andrew Kisner, who, struggled mightily. Carson Kelly was very good, I thought, when he came over. And, but if we're being honest, Kyle Higashioka, with his increased power and his already good defensive ability, is a better player.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
The Rangers aren't messing around. They at least at this position. One other thing that Ross said, I don't want to hog the mic here, but I asked about Nathan Eovaldi, and they're a little hesitant about talking about free agents, even though he's their own free agent. And he said we remain actively speaking with several of the upper tier starting pitchers. So it's not just Eovaldi. They're sounds like they're upper tier. What do you think of? You think of Corbin Burns? Hey,
maybe
that'd be a hell of a deal. But I would still think that it's Eovaldi or bust. And I had talked to somebody 10 days ago, let's say. They said that the Rangers are very aggressive with Eovaldi and are speaking with him frequently.
Yeah. And to be honest, the more starting pitchers that go, the better that Evo has, with leverage.
Right. The supply and demand.
Yeah.
And if there's less supply, his price tag's going to go up. So maybe they want to get this one done early too.
Sure.
We didn't get to talk about it with Kyle, but did he say anything about Bobby Wilson? And is there a connection there?
There was. Bobby's maybe his last year of trying to play. He was in Yankee spring training as a non-roster guy. And so they got to know each other then. And Kyle said the thing that really left a mark with him that Bobby did was Bobby's attention to detail defensively. And, he talked to Jose Trevino, who was a former teammate with the Yankees and comes from the Bobby Wilson school of catching. Kyle's excellent at framing pitches. So is Jose. I know Jonah was down this year, but a lot of that had to do with where the Rangers were asking him to set up. So I think that there's definitely a Bobby Wilson influence here on Higashioka. And, it'll be, like Kisner was a project,
right?
Catching wise. Mitch Garver was a project catching wise. This guy comes in advanced and ready to go. I'm not saying Bobby Wilson's going to be taking the days off, but it's maintenance. It seems like. And Higashioka, he said to us he isn't happy with the status quo offensively. I'm sure that's the case defensively too.
Yeah. Always nice to know that a guy is trying to improve. Did the bullpen come up with Ross at all?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
The free agency. I think my question about Eovaldi kind of cooled everybody's jets on questions about free agency. Yeah. But Ross wasn't curt or anything. He was very nice about it. But the last time we had a chance to speak with Chris Young, it was in regards to the Josh Spohr surgery. I guess that was last Monday, and not the surgery, but the conference call. And Chris Young said that before Josh Spohr was hurt, they were looking at adding multiple relievers, and they're going to do the same. They're still doing the same. I don't know that they're going to add any more because Josh Spohr is hurt. He was hurt a lot last year, so they know what their internal options are. He's going to come back in May, June time frame. Yep. So it's not like he's out for the year. But yeah, bullpen's a big deal, and that's a market that once it starts moving, it moves quick. So you don't want to miss out on that. I don't know if Aroldis Chapman's deal. I don't know if you guys talked about that 1 year, 10 something with the Red Sox. I don't know
1 year,
if that's
10.75.
I don't know if that's the start of it or the benchmark for Kirby Yates or the starting point, but I wouldn't be surprised if some relievers started signing pretty quick.
Yeah, you got to jump on that quickly. Also, December 9th will be a big day for Rangers fans because on December 9th, that's next Monday, I guess, right? Yeah, next Monday, then Amazon Prime will release the championship documentary for the 2023 season. This will be exciting. This
For a
will be
small price.
must-see TV.
$12.99.
$12.99, good price. And that documentary comes out next week. So make sure you are aware of that. I think it's going to. I mean, the access that they're granted sometimes is like even way closer than any of us have ever been able to be, Jeff.
Yeah, it gets a little, you get a little envious.
Yeah,
you
do.
Or not envious, you get mad. It's like, why can't I be in there? You know, I mean, it's just like these guys aren't around every day. Damn it, I am. I want to be in there too.
Yeah.
But they do get to see some stuff, and it'll be fun to watch it. I'll pay the $12.99.
Yeah.
Can I write it off? I mean, it is a business
There you
expense.
go.
Heck of a point.
I will say though, I miss like the early 2000s because in the Red Sox documentary, Kevin Millar had like a handheld camcorder. I miss those days.
Yeah,
I want to go back old school to like personal footage, because
Yeah.
that's really the best content. Some of it, might have to be cut out here and there. But that would be Devin Booker's actually doing that with the NBA. He's going everywhere with a camcorder.
Is he?
Yeah, old
Nice.
school, vintage.
That is old school.
That
That's
is.
cool.
But it only took them a year and some change to make.
Yeah.
Hope it's worth the wait. I think the Dodgers one is almost done, but
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
here nor there. Hey, we're grateful. We will take the relive, walk down memory lane whenever we can.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then the Rangers did that like YouTube show, The Spring.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
and
that
there
was
were a
spring
lot of
training.
people
That was
there.
cool.
They were very nice. I have nothing against the people doing their jobs. And that was a nice little show, and it was something different.
Yeah.
You see, not getting political here, people, but you do see Elon Musk, the difference he's made with Twitter and how Twitter and Joe Rogan played a role in the presidential election. The Rangers saw YouTube as an opportunity to reach more fans, and so they did that. Those shows last year, I thought they were great. I really did.
I did too.
Yeah,
I did too. They were very well done. So that's coming out next week. And also, I don't know if we have a graphic for this, Abs, but what about the Josh Young backyard baseball game or whatever that
Oh
is?
yeah. Well,
That's going to be fun.
scrolling on
That's
Twitter.
not until January
My
sometime.
papa corrected me, and he was like, "It's X,"
Yeah, oh yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
Look,
"So-
Papa, I'm going to call it Twitter, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember that one. But Josh Young seems like he's going to have something in January. I'm trying to pull it
It's
up.
the wiffle balls, the World Wiffle Ball Association.
Oh, is that what
Because they were in town not that long ago, but they were at AT&T, and Josh Young threw out the first pitch. I think it was their World Championship or something.
That's right.
And,
Young's backyard battle.
yeah, so
Right.
he's, Josh, we've talked about it. He's got a lot of irons and a lot of fires. He's
Yeah.
got to keep that mind active, and he's still a kid.
It's for the kids. Yeah, he's a kid himself. It's
Yeah,
for
it
the
raises
kids.
money for the Rangers Baseball Foundation and also for the
Rangers
Miracle
Care.
League.
Yep.
Miracle
which
League's
is near
awesome.
and dear to my heart. Yeah.
Let's go overtime. Go ahead and do your little.
Oh
spiel.
yeah, okay, yeah. So like us, subscribe to us. We're here every day with the DLLS Rangers podcast. And now we're talking about other stuff.
Yeah. So anyway,
That makes me
you
laugh.
probably live by these ballparks in Waxahachie. Oak Park is it
Yeah,
Oak Park?
yeah,
They have a Miracle League field.
yes.
And
It's the greatest.
My son's team had a tournament there. Let's say last spring, and the Miracle League was up there playing. And I can't remember if Henry's team had won or lost, but something didn't sit with me right. And so I think they got walked off maybe, and they didn't handle it the best way. So I told their coach, I said, look, and then their coach is great, or their old coach. He was fantastic. I love him. Former minor league player, Chuck Taylor. He was in the Diamondbacks and Nationals organization from Mansfield, Timberview. Anyway, I told him, hey, I'm not going to tell you how to coach, but those kids need to go up there and watch these Miracle League kids play.
Yeah, yeah.
And understand what they have right in front of them, and not take it for granted, because you see children with disabilities, you see kind of some young adults up there who are playing on the Miracle League field, and it's like they need to go up there and realize how good they have it. My kids, these kids on this team, and I just think the Miracle League's great,
And then Coach did that, I assume.
Yeah. And then I went up there and I stood with him. And I was like, you guys got it pretty good, don't you?
Yeah.
I was like, you don't need to be sweating these losses. You know?
But and what's great,
and you need to learn how to behave.
Yeah, and what's great about those Miracle League kids is they're getting just such joy, unadulterated joy from the game.
Yeah.
From winning, losing, that's not the thing that matters to them. It's playing, right? It's the ability to be out there.
Right.
It's a fantastic organization. I was blessed to be a part of the very first Miracle League field built in the Metroplex. We went around, I went with an Arlington businessman, and he had seen a story I did on a Miracle League team up in Oklahoma. And we took my story and showed it to various charitable donors throughout the course of the area and Chamber of Commerce's and things like that to help raise money for the Miracle League. The first field in the Metroplex was built not far from the ballpark, and that was a really fun exercise for me to be a part of.
Sure, it's great. And all right, now back to Ranger stuff.
Yeah,
and some of the questions. Coop mentioned how the thing about a documentary, or she saw a trailer for the documentary, and it dwarfed. She what struck me was CY dwarfing Seager, and then she went on to say Seager is a big guy. He is.
Yeah.
And Chris Young is 6'10".
Yeah.
So if he ever comes here, we're gonna have to
I'll need
strategically place him. So but he's gonna make us all look small.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm a little taller than you, John. So I guess it'll be put him between us and put Abby kind of on the end.
Yeah, there you go.
If she doesn't want to feel too short,
I can be Elf on the shelf.
Yeah, we put her on the shelf. That'd be bad. No, we can't do that.
Yeah, and then Ethan, I like Sagano. I know he's a little older, but you look at his career numbers in Japan, and they're fantastic. I don't know what happened a few years ago when he was posted and wasn't able to sign. I think he would really help. And MLB Trade Rumors thinks he'll only sign a 1-year deal. I don't know about that, but I'm with you. And then Sean Manaea, also from Ethan, coming off a career year. And the Rangers have seen a lot of him. He's kind of one of those analytical freaks. He showed a lot of moxie, I thought, in the postseason. So that wouldn't be a bad one. And throwing a left-hander with all those righties you potentially are going to have.
Yeah, you got to tell me what his price tag is.
Right, exactly. And I don't think he turned down a qualifying offer.
Okay.
I don't think he was. I think maybe he'd been given one previously. I don't know if Ethan can help us with that.
Yeah.
But and then Coop Austin Hayes, who was a non-tendered. Okay, that's a name that's out there. A nice, handy right-handed hitting outfielder to have. I don't know why the Orioles, he wasn't with the Orioles. I guess he's with the Brewers. Maybe the Brewers didn't want to pay him, but that's a good name too. I mean, there are a lot of options, but I saw this also earlier, from Ethan. Yeah, Conforto to Texas next.
Yeah,
I mean, I've heard Conforto a lot, and you heard it 2 years ago too, and they didn't get it done.
Yeah,
I don't think he'll be as costly as he was 2 years ago. I mean, he was coming off of injury then, and he still got a 2-year, 2-36, I think. He knows Justin Vealey, the new hitting coach. He's worked with him the last 2 years, so there's a lot of reasons. Plus, the Rangers like these guys. They like him. They really like him, and that hasn't changed in the last 2 years. Jock Peterson, yes. Andres, that one's been mentioned as well. Not sure, Of the two, you probably like Peterson's offense. He's like coming off a career high OPS, but if he needs to play, if the outfielder you sign needs to play defense more, I mean, Conforto I don't think is a Gold Glove winner or anything, but he at least is a better outfielder, I think.
Yeah,
and he can play right field. He can play left and right.
There you go.
I agree.
Both corners. That's good.
Yeah.
So hopefully we got through all your questions, and hopefully we didn't disrupt your time schedule too much. But you see, we had to get on a little early so we could get our guest on, Kyle Higashioka. We're so glad that he was able to join us. Great work by Jeff pulling all that stuff together and tuning in on both of those press conferences, if you will, via Zoom. And we appreciate all the questions and we appreciate all the comments. And we're going to be here each and every day this week working on a guest for later in the week, somebody you'll really like to see, I believe. So hang out with us each and every day at noon from here on out, unless there's more breaking news.
Yeah.
And hey, we might even, because we toyed with this late last night when we saw the Higashioka news, not for long, but it crossed my mind. Do we jump on an emergency pod now? Not quite big enough for that, but
right.
But there's
we're getting there.
There's the possibility of that coming down the line if the Rangers sign somebody even bigger.
Yeah, I think Conforto would be big enough.
Yeah, certainly.
Evaldi,
if they sign
Evaldi, or a closer for sure. Tyler Henderson, Jesse Winker. I think he's about to sign a deal with the Reds. But I'm also not sure that he's the best guy. I think he had some issues. Maybe he was in Seattle. So you know how Chris Young likes to stay away from trouble. So, but he's a left-handed hitter. I don't know. Anyway, all right.
That's it. We'll do it again tomorrow. See you at noon on another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.